I think it's a great introduction for people who are just starting, as well as in something that can continue along as you develop.
I think it's been an invaluable tool for getting to, know what's going on in the computer world.
Informative, friendly, fantastic, and fun.
Golden opportunities for everybody.
It's just a gas.
Totally awesome.
Thousands of people around the world have found a fun and exciting way to learn more about their Atari home computers. They found a place to meet people who share similar interests. Best of all, they found Atari Computer Users Groups a great place to get the most out of their home computers.
The value this group has is to take somebody who's a complete computer illiterate, a novice, and bring them carefully and gently into computer literacy.
Many people, even before they own machines, start to go to the groups just to inform themselves, to find out, what is happening. So I think it's a great introduction for people who are just starting, as well as in something that can continue along as you develop.
We have in this organization people ranging all the way from full-fledged computer professionals who are using the Atari to do a particular sort of thing, to people who are total novices and everything in between.
It's a club for everybody. The families get involved with it as we spend a little bit of time, catering to that, the family aspect rather than, we got all high-tech people.
It's a place to go if you've got a problem, and everybody is more than happy to share their information with you.
Really, anything that any of the members want, we'll try to implement. That's what we're here for, is to help the members. And if they want something, usually, be it a class or something else, we usually try to help them get it.
What we want you to do now is for each one of you to take time and sit down and load a cassette program and load a disc program.
Users groups offer a wide range of activities to help their members learn more about their Atari home computers. There are things to do for both the beginner and for the more experienced computer owner. Among the favorite activities are computer classes.
The classes are probably one of the most popular parts of the user group. People come to the group because they want to learn. I think that's really the main reason for anybody being here.
Anyone who's interested in BASIC for beginners, people who have never had BASIC before, we're going to try to set up a class starting next month, the 3rd and 4th Sunday of the month on these premises, if we can get them.
We've offered classes in just about everything. One of our most important classes that we'd like to offer is a beginning basic for people who have no experience with your computer. We start with, this is how you plug the computer in, and this is where you put the basic cartridge. In addition, we've offered 4th classes. We're trying to get together some Pascal classes and some of the other languages that are available through the Atari.
This is kind of like if you had a great big scratch pad this long.
Product demonstrations and announcements provide members with their first chance to look at and hear about new products.
The 1027 printer, I believe, is around $300. This is an interesting product. This is the one that fascinated me almost the most of any of the products. We're talking here a letter quality printer at 20 characters per second. This is
all the inverse characters you see there are control codes, like the top line formats everything, your bottom and top margins, left and right margins, your spacing, whether you want the right justification on, page length, things like that. The 600 is the replacement of the 400. It has a full stroke keyboard. It has function keys down the side again. It's a very sharp looking machine.
There's this gorilla.
Some product demonstrations are just for fun.
And you're supposed to rescue the pretty girl and avoid the gorilla. You hop up there, you avoid the gizmo. Watch this. I made it.
Many groups make non-commercial software programs available to their members at little or no charge. Programs can be found for nearly any application.
We have a big public domain library. We've got probably 400 programs in there. So they can pick that up off of the bulletin board, or we have a librarian that makes up diskettes, and they can buy the diskettes, at a very nominal cost, and they can have their programs, they can do whatever they want with that.
When you first start programming on a computer, you want to see example programs of things that you want to do, and this library helps fill that need, because here you've got 30 diskettes of programs that someone else has done. And if you're trying to do something in particular with player missile graphics or sound or some of the other neat features of the Atari, then you can go look at some of these programs and see what they've done.
We have educational programs, we have games programs, we have utilities programs, we have a certain amount of tutorial type programs in order to teach the user in auto-teach mode with his computer.
One person stood up and remarked that in one program they got out of the library, they thought that they had realized the real savings that more than covered their membership in the user group.
What we've been doing in the cassette group is we've been getting ourselves organized. So that
Users group members have many interests. To support these interests, smaller groups meet to share experience and knowledge.
Special interest groups gives the people a chance to meet on their own, to make new friends, do it at their own pace, in their own homes, kind of learn in a nice, positive, pleasant sort of way.
And a special interest group is a group which shares a common interest in just some little minor part of this whole computer world.
One special interest group would cover maybe 50 or 60 people, but we could have 15 or 20 special interest groups, and these range in everything from basic programming, assembly language, to just interest in games, adventures, education, hardware, software, interfacing, you name it.
To encourage communication between local members and between clubs around the country, many users groups have set up computerized bulletin board systems.
The bulletin board concept comes into the same idea that if you had a bulletin board at work or at school, you'd come out and you put an index card up on the board if you want to leave a message for me, say, hey, meet me after ball practice or whatever. So a computer bulletin board involves a computer system which we put on the air on a telephone line, and it's always on the telephone line. Anytime anybody dials in, this computer will answer the phone for them. And you go beep, and it says, what do you want?
And this allows our users and non-users to sign into our club, basically, from anywhere in the world, and use our facilities. Like we have electronic mail capabilities. If you want to pass a message to someone, they can log in and leave a message for myself or one of the members. Also, we have programs that can be downloaded from the bulletin board. The librarian, who also runs the bulletin board, tries to keep the best possible programs on the bulletin board.
So we thought the bulletin board would be a means by which they could interact, they could relate, they could exchange the information every day, not just once a month at a meeting. So it's worked out very well, and just look at the variety of the messages that you get. And most of them I like the flavor of the messages on this particular board. They're helpful, they're informative, so I'm very pleased with the effect that it's had in the club.
Another way groups communicate with their members and with other groups is through newsletters. Newsletters provide up-to-date information and a variety of useful articles.
We put a lot of work into the newsletter. As a matter of fact, we call the newsletter a journal right now. We produce a product for our members and for the user group community at large. We ship complimentary copies to all the user groups.
We have a newsletter which is networking us with people all over the world. It's for an educator, it's extremely exciting. We've made contact with people from MIT, we've made contact with people in Germany, we've made contact with people in Australia, and we are starting to share educational curriculum throughout the United States.
Most all of the clubs have a newsletter of some sort. Some of them are practically as large as a magazine. And in those, very strong aspect of the club is to review new software, new programs.
From time to time, there are programming hints in the newsletter. So if someone is having a particular problem with a programming area that they're not familiar with, they might be able to find an answer to it within the newsletter.
Users groups not only support their own members, they actively support others in their community. Members can be found lending a helping hand in many ways, from neighborhood activities to computer projects to educational programs.
I think that any kind of a club, be it a computer club or a garden club or whatever it is in a community, grows and becomes active and vital mainly when it starts doing things for other people as well as for themselves.
One way that the users group really supports us is that when we have a problem here at WISTEC that involves computers, one of the first people we think of calling is the president of ACE Eugene, or other members of the club who have particular areas of interest. And we know that they will always be helpful to us.
The TRACE organization first approached the library about having a computer in the library system for the public to use. We told them that we really had to have some help, though, in doing this kind of a project, so we established an advisory board. They have helped us in a number of ways, and the biggest part of it was their own enthusiasm about the project once we started doing it caused it to mushroom and grow to a much bigger thing.
Here we're starting this year to have a Toys for Tots sale where we're going to have a kind of a contest to see who can get the top score on an Atari game, and we're going to be giving away a computer. So it kind of aid in the Toys for Tots drive this Christmas.
By having this kind of fair Computer Days exhibit, we can get greater public exposure to people that there is such thing as a users group and that the Atari has many capabilities that they can use in home. We have very good response from the members. It's actually surprising. I've been involved in other groups, and the volunteer response hasn't been anywhere near as enormous as it is in the Atari Computer Users Group. They volunteer their time, they volunteer their systems, and they're very enthusiastic about doing it.
Schools look to users groups to help foster computer literacy.
Some of the people from our local users group got together and we provided the school district with some good programs that we had written, and we made suggestions in terms of what particular commercial programs to buy.
One of the things the users group that has done that has really helped is they've opened their public domain library to the school and given us, which I'm picking up tonight, copies of everything in the public domain for the school.
As a result of the local interaction from the people in our club, we've been able to get most of the computers used most of the time in the schools. And now it's to a point, once the kids get a chance to use the computers, they don't want to stop.
Retailers also find that the groups can be helpful.
In many instances, one of the members will be in our store, and when we get busy, they'll just step right in and take over almost as an unsolicited salesman.
It's nice to have that reserve of expertise there when we do need it.
We talk about Scout Group at every computer sale, simply because it's one of the cheapest ways for a novice user to get right into computing and actually getting into the use of the computer.
Soft Shop, this is Kay.
Joining a users group is easy. You might run into a member at your local retail outlet or see a notice posted in your community. You can also call the Atari toll-free number to get the phone number of the users group nearest you.
Okay, I'm the president of the local Atari users group, and I can tell you about it. Okay, we're a group of well over 200 members now. We meet once a month at the South Regional Library here in Tulsa.
We get phone calls from various people that have bought the Atari and are just really thrilled that there's someone they can call and say, hey, I just bought the Atari, I don't know the slightest thing to do. How do I get this running? How do I do this?
This morning I got 3 phone calls from people that just bought computers this week, and they were very interested in coming to the meeting, and they'll probably be here today. But that's how we normally get the word out, is through the dealers, through our efforts of personally going out to the stores, and of course just word of mouth getting around.
When you go in and you see somebody with an Atari and they're in the box and they're writing the check, you go, pat them on the back, let me tell you about the users group, you know, and I tell them what we try to do, where we meet.
We deal very closely, of course, with all the dealers. Anybody who sells an Atari computer in the community, we keep our membership application on their counter. So when they sell an Atari computer, they say, here's a group you might be interested in. And we advertise in the Sunday paper before our meeting. We put a big notice in there saying the Atari Club is going to meet.
Joining a users group is the best way to keep in touch.
I mean, the computer is great, and I love it. I mean, it's a great computer. But the users group is what makes it work. It makes it tick.
I just like computer groups. There's a lot of people that know what you're talking about.
I think the contributions are tremendous.
I think the most important aspect that you can come away from belonging to a user group with is a sense of community, of sharing, and communicating with other people.